I breathe out quietly, as if this single breath might carry the weight of everything I can't name. There is a silence that comes before words, a silence heavy enough to press against the ribs, gentle enough to remind you that you are still here. Sometimes it feels like the body remembers what the mind cannot hold. The muscles ache with secrets. The skin hums with tiredness that no sleep soothes. And in the spaces between one breath and the next, I feel myself pausing, not because I choose to, but because there is nothing else left to give. This is not a loud suffering. It doesn't break doors or shatter windows. It arrives quietly, like fog seeping into a room, until even light bends beneath its weight. And so before anything else, I let this breath be an opening, a doorway into the quiet, a surrender to the hush that waits beneath everything. This isn't sadness, not exactly. It's a weightless quiet, like snow falling on a field already buried deep. Everything is muted, muffled by a thick numbness that wraps around me, heavy as wet wool, soft in its touch, yet pressing down until breathing feels like effort. Even tears seem too heavy to fall. They linger behind the eyes, waiting for strength that never comes. I drift through moments as if underwater. Sounds arrive warped, as though the world is speaking from the far end of a tunnel. Voices blur into one another. Colors fade until they all share the same washed-out shade of gray. I remember laughter, sharp, alive, ringing like a bell in an open sky. But now even smiles ache softly, buried under layers of fatigue that no sleep touches. And so I move through my days carrying a body that feels older than it is, a spirit that longs to rest but cannot find where to lay down. So I let this tiredness cradle me. I let my shoulders drop their burdens. One quiet breath at a time. I let my heart rest, not forced to feel, not pushed to rise, just allowed to be still. And in that stillness, there is a fragile kind of mercy, a reminder that even emptiness can hold me gently, that even silence can be a hand against my back, steadying me until warmth finds me again, in its own quiet season. But exhaustion rarely walks alone. When the body grows heavy, the heart begins to speak in whispers, a language of doubts, a chorus of unfinished promises. The quiet soon fills with questions. What if I should have done more? What if I was never enough to begin with? And suddenly, tiredness is no longer just an empty weight. It sharpens into a voice, a verdict that says every pause is proof of failure. And so fatigue melts into striving, and striving into the ache of never arriving. There's a hollow weight in giving everything you have, only to feel it slip through open hands. Effort pours out like water from a cracked vessel, spilling faster than you can hold it. No matter how tightly you press your palms together, it escapes between your fingers, a reminder that even your best can drain away unseen. Every reach for approval, every push against the invisible wall, deepens the quiet ache. The world keeps asking, and you keep offering pieces of yourself, until even your reflection grows tired of trying. It isn't anger. It isn't despair. It is slower than that, quieter, like waves smoothing stone. Each attempt wears you down, rounding sharp edges into something unrecognizable. And soon you wonder, will I ever be enough? Or am I only the erosion that remains? So let the striving rest here, in this quiet. Let the heavy word failure dissolve into air. I release the clenched fists, the endless rehearsals of what I should have been. I release the measuring sticks that never belonged to me. I whisper to the weary heart, you are not your unfinished battles. You are not the hunger of others. You are not the voice that says not enough. You are the breath that remains, the softness still alive beneath the ache, the quiet flame that burns, even when no one sees its glow, So let this moment cradle you. Let it hold you without condition. One breath, one pause. Simply enough. And yet, when the striving finally falls silent, a new burden often rises to take its place. Not the weight of failure, but the performance of being fine. We learn to hold ourselves upright, to smile so the questions never come, to nod so the silence stays unbroken. But every mask has its cost. Every practiced smile leaves a quiet bruise. And sometimes, the hardest exhaustion of all is not from trying, but from pretending you're untouched. There is a strange weight in pretending, like balancing fragile glass on trembling hands. You laugh so no one notices. You nod so no one asks. The world applauds your strength. But inside, each echo of laughter cuts deeper, because it isn't yours. Behind every practiced smile, tiny fractures spread like cracks in porcelain. The mask holds for a time, but each day adds another line, another weakness in the surface. You want to rest, to be bare, to breathe without performance. But the fear of being seen raw keeps you clothed in disguise, a smile stitched from silence and ache. And so you bow on the stage of daily life, curtain rising and falling, while your heart whispers backstage, I can't keep this up forever. Let the mask slip. It is not your duty to be unbroken. It was never your purpose to convince the world you are fine. Let the applause fade. You do not owe the room a smile that cuts your own skin. You do not need to echo joy when your chest feels hollow. Breathe into the silence. In this breath, you are not failing. In this pause, you are not weak. You are only human. And being human is enough. You are allowed to be weary, allowed to let the ache speak, allowed to rest your face, your heart, your trembling hands. The world will not fall apart if you set the mask down. But you may finally begin again, lighter, truer, bare. But when the mask grows too heavy and the performance wears thin, another silence often takes its place. The silence of being surrounded and still feeling unseen. You stand among voices and laughter, smiles passing from face to face, but none of them settle on you. It is a different kind of exhaustion. Not from effort, not from pretending, but from the ache of presence without connection. And in that hollow space, loneliness whispers its quiet truth. There are nights when the room feels full, yet my chest feels empty. Smiles flicker around me, warm light moving from face to face, but never landing where I stand. It's like watching a dance through a window, close enough to hear the music, too far to feel its warmth. Loneliness doesn't always arrive in solitude. Sometimes it lives inside the crowd, in the laughter you can't join, in the touch that passes you by. Your hands grow cold, your heart aches for something unseen, and you wonder if anyone notices the quiet distance in your eyes. So I let the silence be here, a guest seated beside me at the table. Not as punishment, but as reminder I am still here, still breathing. I whisper to myself, you are not invisible. You are not unloved. You are not forgotten. Even if no one meets your eyes tonight, your presence matters. Even if no hand reaches back, your heartbeat is proof of belonging. So I rest in this moment. I stop forcing joy. I stop rehearsing smiles. And I allow loneliness to soften, not as an enemy to fight, but as a wave to float upon. Because even waves recede. Even silence has an ending. And just beyond this hush, the faint warmth of tomorrow waits, patient and steady, for me to arrive. I am still here, still breathing, still worthy of love, even when no one sees. So if exhaustion has cradled you in silence, if striving has worn you thin, if pretending has tired your smile, If loneliness has echoed in your chest, know this: you are not alone in any of it. There are others who have carried this same weight, others who have walked through rooms full of voices and felt the same hollow quiet. There are others who have worn the same smile as a shield, whose hands have shaken from giving too much, whose bodies have folded beneath a tiredness no rest could touch. And if you recognize yourself here, then perhaps this moment is not only about ache, but about permission. Permission to rest, permission to release, permission to lay down the mask, the striving, the loneliness, for even a breath, even a heartbeat. Because you are not your exhaustion. You are not your failure. You are not the mask you wear, nor the silence that surrounds you. You are the breath that remains. You are the heartbeat that continues. You are the quiet proof of a life still unfolding. And if you feel like it, leave a trace below. Not for me, but for the unseen hearts who will wander here after you, searching for a sign that they are not walking this path alone.